First of all, we may not increase any export taxes. But the best one is we may not introduce any new export taxes. Meaning what we have at the moment, say there's another industry that we feel maybe we can add some value. According to the text, we may not do it. Okay, so we are stuck with what we have, and it's such a narrow space that we have. What will this result in eventually? First of all, it will discourage any further local value addition for the agricultural sector. Secondly, it will discourage the diversification of our economy, because you are stuck with these products, and this is the only ones that are sort of this protection, and you cannot go into others because you may not do that. And lastly, it will be very difficult to promote local manufacturing, because the fact is you may not. You can have what you have, but nothing new. Last example, infant industry protection. Just want to add on to what Emily has said. Currently we have infant industry protection in Namibia for the manufacturing of pasta, on one hand, and the other one is long life milk, the one in the box, what we call UHT or ultra high temperature milk. The reason for infant industry protection for Namibia specifically is because it's a small economy, and if you want to establish new industries in the country, you have to take into account South Africa, this huge economic powerhouse. How do you compete with them? You cannot. That's why in the customs union agreement we are allowed to take a grace, or to apply for a grace period of 8 years in which a newly established manufacturing enterprise can have a period to establish itself for future competition. The second reason for that being, this is a way to attract new investors. If I'm an investor currently, and I go to Southern Africa, and I have to establish a factory somewhere, I would rather do it in South Africa because the numbers, the market, everything's there. Why will I go to a small place like Namibia? Except if I know at least for 8 years, I have this benefit of protection for my industry. So I can grow my industry for the 8 years, and then I will be able to compete. And then lastly, obviously, if you establish new industries, it's another opportunity to create new employment, new jobs for us. What does the EPA text say? First of all, phase out all infant industry protection, meaning the two that we have will have to go in time. Secondly, and this is the best, no new infantry protection measures. Now, under the customs union agreement, we are allowed to do this. Comes the EU, they are not part of the customs union, they tell us, sorry, you cannot have it. Which one are you going to take? What will be the result of this? First of all, how are we going to establish new industries in Namibia against the competition from South Africa? It's basically impossible. How are we going to attract new investors? We did attract new investors specifically under the auspices of this infant industry protection. So, new investors, bye-bye, gone. And in a country like Namibia, where we have an unemployment rate of plus minus, I think it's more, around about 40%. If you can get someone in that can create new employment, well, thank you very much. Now we cannot do that. Because how can you establish a new industry if competition, for instance, from South Africa would just wipe that out within a few years? I hope I've made this point clear. Lastly, I just want to mention something that's also to add on to her.